if Bob Myers didn't know about this video not being leaked, he should have gotten rid of it. All right. The fact is, he knew that there was a video out there. He was the GM of the organization at the time that this thing was leaked. Why didn't he? We know the Patriots with Spygate got rid of all those tapes. How did he not get rid of all these tapes? Mm-hmm. That's one. Number two, he left the Golden State Warriors because he didn't want to make the tough decision on Steph Curry. That's a crock of you-know-what to. Because he knew that Steph Curry was still his best player. He still knew that Steph Curry was going to be an elite player in this league. He just knew Klay Thompson sucked. Kevin Durant was gone. Draymond Green was a shell of himself, and there was nobody. All the picks in Wiseman and Poole, they have failed. Now, Poole was playing pretty good basketball at the time. He's the one who gave him the $130 million contract. He was the one. He was hiding from that contract. That was a terrible contract. The second contract he gave to Klay Thompson was horrible. That contract, the third contract he gave to Draymond Green, was absolutely ridiculous. Bob Myers ran because he wants to be looked like the superstar of those championship teams. Draymond Green is a bully. That's what he is. He's a bully. He can say whatever he wants. On national television, Charles Barkley loves him. Shaquille O'Neal likes him. Kenny the Jet Smith likes him. Great. Congratulations to them. We all know this guy is a bully. This guy is not, he's inhuman, and he has no respect for the league. He has no respect for the players. And by the way, I have heard many different stories over the past year that Steph Curry and Draymond Green has had it out in that locker room more than a numerous amount of times. And the only reason why it hasn't come out is because Steph Curry has been keeping it inside the locker room. And when is the NBA going to speak up? How many times does Draymond Green have to hurt somebody on the court, practically try to kill somebody on the court? That elbow was intentional, okay? I don't care what he says after the game. That was an intentional elbow. Him stepping on LeBron James's you-know-what was intentional. Him kicking Adams in the balls was intentional. Everything that him choking out Rudy Gobert was intentional. All of it was intentional. Ron Artest was suspended and had to go for extracurricular activities off the court. He had to show David Stern everything, all these different doctors that he had to go and see, how many anxiety pills and all the different depression pills he had to take before he stepped back on a basketball court because of what he did in Indiana. I honestly, the fact that the NBA is letting this guy still play and open his big fat mouth is ridiculous. And then attack a young kid like Zach Edey saying that he quit on Purdue. Really? So a guy that scored 37 out of his team's 60 points, he quit on? Oh, come on, guys. Let me tell you something, Draymond. When was the last time you scored 37 points in a game? Yeah. When was the last time you can say that you were the leading scorer of your team? Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you played in a national championship game? How are you? You weren't even a leader of that team. You weren't even the best player. That's why you were a second-round draft pick. David Stern was all about the league. Wasn't about the players. Yeah. Adam Silver has become more for the players. And yes, even though the players are everything to the league, this league's been around a lot longer than LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, and all those baby back bitches. All they do is cry because they didn't get what they wanted. And I loved Carmelo Anthony. All he did was bitch. All he did was go out there and cry, and isolate every other player on the court. That's what he did. It was all isolation. It never works. Isolation never worked. How many teams have won championships running an isolation game? Not even the Bulls. They played in the triangle. It doesn't work. Adam Silver is a complete moron. He has completely changed my mind on who he is as a commissioner, as a man that is running. He should have taken that Disney job. I've said this many, many times. When it was offered to him, he should have taken it. It is an embarrassment that he lets this man say the crap that comes out of his mouth. I would have dropped the hammer on this man. But why? Why hasn't he? This guy is hurting team after team, player after player, coach after coach, speaking out and hurting players that he's never even met. And Zach Edey, who did nothing to him, had nothing to do with Michigan State. It's Purdue.
Yep.
When was the last time Purdue played in a national championship game? And by the way, why were they in the national championship game? First of all, he's a Hall of Famer. There's no question Draymond Green is a Hall of Famer. But everybody in the NBA is a Hall of Famer now. Everybody. You name it, they're in the Hall of Fame now. I look at Hall of Famers, I look at the best of the best. The guys that dominated their position. Draymond Green did not dominate his position. Has he won Defensive Player of the Year? There were a couple of years that I can honestly say that he shouldn't have won, but he did. Now, I'm not saying Draymond Green wasn't a great two-way player, and he's not a good offensive player, but this man has been nothing but a bully ever since he stepped on the court. Now bullies have been around for many, many years, especially in the 90s. We interviewed one of them in Charles Oakley. He was a bully. Anthony Mason, nicest guy I've ever met, a bully. Bill Laimbeer, he's still a prick. Bully. Dennis Rodman, he started off to be a nice guy and then became a bully. He was a bad boy. You need those guys, but not when they do things like Draymond Green when the game is different now. You cannot choke somebody up. You know, Charles Barkley, when he was trying to do it to Shaquille O'Neal in those times, it was legal. They didn't care. Everybody wanted to see Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal fight with one another. Now they're butt buddies.